This review is going to have some minor spoilers. Mostly stuff that you'd be able to surmise from the trailer. No major things, but just letting you know that ahead of time. Anyway, Evil Dead Rise took a big risk by moving the franchise in a very different direction, but does it work? Kinda? I'm not going to be talking about the TV series, I'm focusing on just the movies. While Army of Darkness was the one that really went far out and away from the basic idea, all the other ones stuck pretty close to the basic formula. Someone in a cabin finds the Book of the Dead, people get possessed by deadites, which in turn causes massive amounts of violence and loud noises to happen. Only with Evil Dead Rise, they decided to do all of this in a soon-to-be-condemned apartment building instead of a cabin in the woods. I thought it was an interesting idea to change the locale and something that might be able to open the franchise up to new possibilities. Kinda like taking Jason out of Crystal Lake. The movie focuses on the mother, Ellie, and her 3 kids. They're living in this apartment building and get a visit from Ellie's sister Beth. Beth's going through a crisis and she needs her sister's help while Ellie is going through a major problem of her own. An earthquake happens, which is how they manage to bring in the Book of the Dead. Here was my first problem. I thought this was stupid. The building they're living in used to be a bank. After the earthquake, the son sees a giant hole in the ground and immediately climbs into it. It's the old bank vault where he finds the Book of the Dead. This is also one of the clues that it's a reboot. The Book of the Dead looks quite different from all the other incarnations. Way the Warrior even kept the look of the original book, but that's not even an Evil Dead property. But I digress. So the son, of course, listens to the records that were kept in the vault, which unleashes the curse that possesses his mom, who then proceeds to vomit all over and mutilate herself and anyone she can get her hands on. Overall, I'm on the fence with this one. I like that they decided to try something new, but really, aside from the location change, it was pretty much the Evil Dead formula. It stuck closer to the original, in that it was more serious than silly like 2. It was indeed violent. All kinds of stabbings, eyeball trauma, and being an Evil Dead film, dismemberment. The characters for the most part were okay. You could tell who was the cannon fodder, but I was surprised with some of the kills they went for. In modern movies, certain ages are off limits, but not here. The standout for me was Alyssa Sutherland, who played Ellie. I'd never seen her before, but apparently she was in that show Vikings. Her eyes were amazing, and she gave some fantastic facial expressions that really helped with the creep factor. I'm sure it was enhanced with makeup, but still the foundation was her. Great casting choice. The other actors were mostly newer and lesser-known actors, which I think was kind of the right choice for this kind of movie. My biggest problem was that it just felt too slick. The budget was around 15 to 19 million, I believe, which is around what the Evil Dead 2013 cost. That one still had a grit and felt closer to Raimi's films. This just had too much polish. Some of the camera tricks and CG shots felt off. I don't know, it didn't entirely work for me. How can I put this? The Evil Dead series should be like an Oldsmobile, and Evil Dead Rise was like a Lotus. Just too fancy for an Evil Dead movie. I know this is crazy talk, but I think a smaller budget would have reined things in better. Some stuff just seemed unnecessary, but because they had the money, they went for it. Oh, and the opener, I really didn't think was needed. Because then at the end, you know what's gonna happen. The shot of the girl coming out the lake was very nicely done, but honestly, I think I would have enjoyed it more if they just started in the club, which was where it began after the open. There was a lot of fan service too. Swallow Your Soul, Dead by Dawn, The Chainsaw, and so on. Also, a cool little homage to The Shining. Having Ellie covered in vine tattoos was also a nice touch. It felt like they had their heart in the right place, but in the end, it missed the mark. I didn't dislike it, I just thought it was okay. Something was missing. It was enjoyable, and I think a lot of people will be cheering at the hyper-violent finale, even if you know it's coming. I mean, they set it up around the 15-minute mark. I want to say it's good, but I think I'll stick with okay. I wanted to like it more, but maybe I was just expecting too much. It's definitely the weakest entry in the series. I rented it on Amazon Video on Demand and paid $20 for it, but I think if you want to see this, I'd wait for it to go streaming on HBO Max.